What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Faithful Fanatic Show. And it wouldn't be the Faithful Fanatic Show and DSM Media without Twitter and StreamYard giving me issues.
Yeah,
But nonetheless, we will pull through. So if you are trying to stream this through Twitter, just click on the broadcast link. It takes you right to it. If not, we're also streaming to you guys live through our YouTube and Facebook channels. So if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button on DSM Media's YouTube, hit that follow button, and like our Facebook page. And of course, tap in on Twitter at DSM_media. Hope everyone has had a great and eventful week, and hope you've all been watering and fertilizing your soil, because I know that the Eagles sure have been, and we will get all into that later. Let's start with the 76ers today again. Obviously, underwhelming performance in the Garden against the Knicks. No pun intended. Garden, soil, water, fertilize. Get that one? Tried to throw that in there, but underwhelming performance as they lose to the Knicks 112-99 to start the season with a 2-2 record. Gint, talk to me about what you saw on Tuesday night. Very just underwhelming. A game I was pumped for. Kind of, not that the Knicks are at top of the Eastern Conference, but they are much improved from that 5 seed or 4 seed that they were last year. They're pretty deep, and it's New York, Philly. I was excited for the game, and then kind of from the second quarter on, the Sixers got punched in the mouth and never were able to bounce back. So what did you see early on in that game?
Yeah, I mean, you covered it. The Knicks are a super energetic squad. So if you play lackluster like Philadelphia did with zero energy, you're going to get smoked, and we saw it firsthand. You mentioned they're deep. They're very deep. It's crazy how many guys they bring off the bench that are productive, like Derrick Rose, Emmanuel Quickly, just guys that come off and can do a lot that we don't really have right now on the bench. But yeah, Madison Square Garden was jumping. It was really cool to see how crazy it was in there, even though it was on the tail end of the Sixers getting absolutely smoked. Kemba Walker, if he played the Sixers 82 times, would average 71 points a game on 75% shooting and would win MVP every year. But that's beside the fact. You saw a lot of Brett Brown-esque defense out there with him beating the pick and roll, just sagging him, playing drop coverage, and again, Kemba just having his way out of the pick and roll. Other than that, they shot really bad. The Sixers did, that is. Just
Horrible.
Piss poor, to be honest, from beyond. So it's game 4 of 82. We're not giving up in any way, but it just was not the performance I wanted to see against a playoff caliber team.
No, for sure, especially when, their first 2 wins on the year are against non-playoff teams, kind of the pit of their respective conferences. Then, you have the Brooklyn loss, which, is a championship competitor team. And they lose at the wire to Brooklyn. And it's like, all right, well, now here's our next test, because our 2 wins are against not very competitive squads. And that was the performance you put out. I think that was my biggest takeaway from that game was you got outworked, you got out hustled, you got outshot, you got outperformed, you got outcoached in every facet of the game. The 76ers got outplayed by the New York Knicks. But I think it's very important to speak on what you just said, which is if you play lackluster, if you don't come in energized, if you don't try to set the tone and set the tempo in New York with the Garden kind of back to what it used to be, you're going to get punched in the mouth. Now, what I will say is the overall game wasn't as bad as the final score would suggest, or it wasn't as bad as the 20-point, the 18-point, the 16-point deficit would allude to. Because like I said after the game, when a lot of people were freaking out, I'm sure the loss sucks in the moment. Anytime the Sixers get their ass handed to them, it sucks. But the Sixers won every quarter outside of a second quarter. The Knicks found a way to dominate a second quarter. What was it? 39-16 the second quarter was, again. The Knicks, later into the second quarter, that's when Kemba went on his little spurt, scoring 9 or 10 straight heading into halftime. Evan Fournier hit a 3. I believe the Knicks at that point were shooting over 60% from deep, while the Sixers were shooting in the low to mid-teens from beyond 3. Seth Curry, we just praised him and talked about him the other day for his 3-point shooting this year, shooting like 70 or 80% from deep. He goes 0 for 4. Joel Embiid goes 0 for 2 from deep and doesn't hit a field goal in the first half. I don't think he hit his first field goal till the second half of action. Tyrese Maxey was an 0-4 from deep. So I think that was kind of the biggest storyline, was not only did you get outworked and out hustled, shots didn't fall for the Sixers in the second quarter. Shots fell at a high clip for the Knicks. And by that point, it was too much to overcome.
Yeah, again, you hit it on the nose. And when you have a stale playbook like we kind of do have right now, when a guy that was shooting the ball at 90% clip can't produce even a percentage of the percentage of that 90%, essentially, you're going to be in trouble. But you said some really good points there. They won 3 of the 4 quarters. The second quarter just
got away from them, dude.
They were lacking, some would say, a point guard in that situation.
Sure.
Just to kind of calm them down. And I'm not even speaking to Ben in that manner. I'm just speaking to a guard that can take control and just say, chill, we're fine. Let's get a really good look here. Let's get Joe a touch in a spot that he can really handle. But he did not look good. But he's a human being, and that's going to happen. He's not going to be Superman like we kind of saw in the past, especially last year. But
yeah,
I'm going to ask you, are you concerned about the knee, the health, the fatigue, just basically everything with him?
I think the fatigue is a weird thing to me. And I'm sure if the knee is hobbled, that plays into the fatigue for trying to overexert. So I'm trying to take this from 2 different angles. The fatigue's a little worrisome because, I mean, bro, you haven't had to overexert yourself through the first 3 games. You've played limited minutes for the most part of the season. And now you're coming, it's not like a back-to-back. You're coming off a night off. You just had to travel to New York. That's it. Like, you shouldn't be that winded by the end of the second quarter. What I will say, the comments afterwards about the knee are what worries me, because they tell me there's something wrong with the knee. When he says, I'm not missing time this early in the season, whatever the comments that he made about the knee, that he's not missing time, he hopes for the best. He didn't say, no, my knee's fine, I'm going to keep playing. He said, I'm hoping for the best, I'm playing through it. That tells you something is going on in that knee. And that's definitely worrisome, because while you don't want to play the early part of the season without Joel Embiid, and it would kind of, to me as a Sixers fan, be annoying, because it is just one of those things. Oh my God, he's always hurt. No matter how great he is, he's always coming up with injuries throughout the season, and for it to be this early. But at the same point, dude, you let him keep going out there and something disastrous happens to that knee, I don't care if it's game 5 of 82. The next 77 don't mean anything, because this team most likely doesn't even make the playoffs at that point. So, yeah, I'm definitely worried about that knee.
And I think a big thing it's playing in this is, and again, I don't want to make this the Ben show, but the perimeter defense is just not really there right now. The amount of times this dude has to try to come across and block a shot is doing nothing to help his case. One, fatigue-wise, just in-game situation. Let's say throw the knee and everything out of it. We don't need our best player jumping this many times to try to block shots, because we have 2 6-foot guards on the wing trying to defend guys that are much bigger than him, and are just getting by them and putting them in the post. And it's
putting them on the floor.
Okay, I was gonna let that one go, but yeah. It's so much, and I alluded to it earlier. The usage rate Joel Embiid is going to have to go through on both ends is going to be really tough without this post Ben era, whether it's post Ben or not. For right now, Ben's not here, and doesn't sound like he's here anytime soon. So Sixers have to figure something out. I don't know. I don't know if he's in the lineup tonight. I don't know if he's questionable. I don't know. There's no way I'd have him play a home game against Detroit in October, regardless of before the knee. I still wouldn't have him do it. There's no reason to. You have a 4-game home stretch coming up. I think it's Detroit, Atlanta. And then Portland. I definitely, if he's going to play in one of those games, I want him to be in the Atlanta game, obviously. I think he wants to play it against Atlanta, so we'll see. But
I'm with you. I wouldn't play him tonight either. There's no need. Go let Andre Drummond kick the shit out of the former team.
You went and got Andre Drummond for a reason. Now, the reason to get Andre Drummond wasn't so Embiid can sit, but it's a luxury to have. And we talk about how B-ball Paul is in storage room, essentially. So, I don't know. Tonight is not a game I'd have him on the floor. He might be out there. I haven't looked at the injury
Well,
report at all.
Keith Pompey said that him and Shake went through pregame warm-ups or the morning shoot around, I should say. And I think they're both questionable. I didn't know Shake was that close to coming.
I thought that would be a blessing because they need somebody else.
Yeah. But what I did want to hit on though is two things. A, the Knicks did a great job at attacking the Sixers' weaknesses defensively. The Sixers' defense has, looked okay through 3 games, even with the absence of Ben Simmons. But then Tuesday night, you kind of saw that effect. They targeted Seth. They targeted Tyrese. They targeted Furkan when he was on the floor, and they were successful. I think another thing we talked about, again, is we talked about how deep they were right off the jump. That was one of the things we mentioned. And we talked about that second quarter where they kind of really took control of the game and never allowed the Sixers to get back in it. If my memory serves me correct, the Knicks bench versus the Sixers bench is what turned the tides in that game.
Yeah, it was
that run started when the Sixers all bench lineup plus Maxey or whatever was.
That's what it was. It was the all bench lineup and Maxey was on the floor, and you're right. That was where it was turnover three. Yes. It felt like it was 7 possessions in a row. But yeah, you are right. All right.
Someone's in my house. I don't know. Hopefully it's not an intruder.
I mean, another thing, like you said, just to touch on their depth, like the Sixers are going to have a good second unit when everything's back, Shake's back, and maybe Ben will be back. But this early in the season with these guys, especially if Embiid starts to sit down a little bit, this is going to be a nightly occurrence, I feel like. Like the second unit that New York brought out was Derrick Rose, Emmanuel Quickley, Alec Burks, Obi Toppin, Taj Gibson. Like these are all guys that have produced in the NBA, first-round draft picks. Like the Sixers don't have that luxury. They have right now Furkan playing the backup point guard position. They got to figure it's tough to say what to do because you just have to get healthy. But again, this second unit is in a bad spot. Even though they've been a plus so far this season, I'm pretty sure their plus minuses have been pluses, but it's against 2 bad opponents.
Listen, here was one of the more frustrating parts for me as well, talking about that bench depth of the Knicks and even some of their new starters that they brought in this offseason. I know that the Knicks are a pretty solid, defensive team. That's kind of what their image, not their image, what they were built off of last year, right? Their identity was last year, right? They played hard and they were good on the defensive side of the team of the floor. But I watched the 76ers struggle to get open, struggle to create their own shots, struggle to get buckets on Kemba Walker, on Evan Fournier, on Derrick Rose, on Alec Burks, on Emmanuel Quickley. Like I know someone's in my house. Hold on.
Yeah.
What?
So while Dylan takes care of that problem,
it's not an intruder. Don't worry.
Thank you, Lord.
But that was my main takeaway, right? Like I know that they're supposed to be a good team, but when I take those individual matchups, how are you struggling to get open versus Kemba, Seth? How are you struggling to move the ball up the floor against Emmanuel Quickley, Tyrese? How are you struggling, Toby, when Evan Fournier switches on you? Like I don't understand it. Joel was having a very tough time with Mitchell early in the game. Obviously, he got 3 quick fouls on Mitchell Robinson early in that game, but he was forced to do what? Catch the ball in the mid-range every time. He wasn't able to establish himself down low and on the block, and that's what makes Joel Embiid less effective when he has to handle the ball and get the ball farther away from the basket.
Yeah, I think it's something really good that you point to because Shaq brought it up, even though that crew loves to hate.
I didn't listen. I turned the channel when it was time for them to.
You said it perfectly. He's picking up the ball at 15 feet. He's not, and it's not even like he's getting pushed out there. It's not like he wants the ball at the 15-foot mark, even though he can create out of the 15-foot mark as good as anyone in the NBA. But it just looks like he's a little bit fatigued, gassed this early in the season, and I just keep coming back to it. But I really think you sit him tonight. I really do. I don't know 100%. If they will. But
I mean, let's switch gears. There's only so much you can say about Tuesday night's loss. Adam, what's going on? Scotty, overall off night is all that can be attributed to, in my opinion. Knicks a great defensive team, and I think that's kind of where we'll wrap it up. Is I will chalk it up as one of those nights. Now, I'm a little bit more hesitant than I'd like to be because, again, as you pointed out before Tuesday's game, this team does have holes. And this team at times is going to miss Ben Simmons. No, not after every bad loss or every down performance. I don't want to have the conversation of, man, they really missed 2-5 that night. But I think it did show a little bit on Tuesday. And I think their holes got, put out on blast on Tuesday. I'm going to chalk it up as a bad loss. I'm going to chalk it up as a bad performance. They weren't hitting open shots. The Knicks shot 60% from deep in the first half. It allowed them to get an 18-point lead. Sixers couldn't come back after that. They were outworked. That's it. Move on. Let's see what's next. Now, what is next, Gint, is a 4-game homestand, like you said, with Detroit up first tonight, Atlanta coming to town Saturday for the revenge game, and then it's Portland, then Chicago, or reversed. But I think it's Portland first, then Chicago, to wrap up the homestand at the Wells Fargo Center. Let's talk about tonight first, and I think we both kind of stand on the same foot here. I wouldn't play Joel Embiid. I don't care if Joel Embiid goes through, morning shoot-arounds. I don't care if Joel Embiid goes through his pre-game routine. No. I put it this way. Denver, I was just talking to you about Nikolai Jokic and the Denver Nuggets before we went live. And Nikolai banged knees with Rudy Gobert on, what night was that? Was that Tuesday? Yeah, that was after the Sixers game. He went into the tunnel, came back out at halftime, went through warm, shoot-around, whatever, said he was good to go. His coach said, no, go back down the tunnel. It's too early. We're not risking it. That's what you do with Joel Embiid. I don't care if Joel Embiid's like, no, I want to play because I got to play to win an MVP. No, I want to go perform. No, dude, we don't need you to beat the Detroit Pistons. We need you to compete with the Atlanta Hawks on Saturday night. And if your knees are good to go that night, you're in. But you're not playing tonight. That's the bottom line, in my opinion.
Yeah, tonight, it's October, is irrelevant. Because like you said earlier, knock on wood, something disastrous happens in a game in October.
Against the Pistons?
The next 70-plus games mean nothing, like you said. So, yeah, I wouldn't play him tonight. I mentioned that. But I think we're going to dive into, again, essentially what's in store for tonight with Detroit. So you can kind of kick that one off if you want.
Yeah, for sure, dude. Listen, Detroit is a bottom tier in the Eastern Conference type of team. They should have no issue with the Pistons, especially at home tonight. But I'm not gonna like the Pistons have your boy, do they not?
Sadiq Bey, yeah, they got him.
Yeah, they do. But the Pistons have a couple young guards, a couple young wings that I do like. Sadiq Bey's averaging 18 and 11.
Yeah, he's had a really good start to the season. But yeah, like you said, they have some young guys. Killian Hayes is solid. Corey Joseph's solid. Jeremy Grant lit us up like a Christmas tree last year, I'm pretty sure. Sixers struggled against Detroit last year. I remember the one game they sat Joel early in the season, and Detroit took it to us. They smoked us. Then they have Isaiah Stewart, Kelly Olynyk. They have some guys. They have some pieces that can get 20 a night. But Philadelphia should be able to handle them with or without Joel Embiid. I fully expect if Andre Drummond does get a start tonight for him to have a very, very solid night. Like we brought up 1,000 times, this dude was a 20 and 14 guy not too long ago. He can be an 18-11 guy in the NBA right now. I firmly believe that. So I think it could be a really good night for Andre Drummond if he is to play.
Andre Drummond still cleans up the glass at like maybe the highest level in the NBA. I forget what his average was in very limited amount of minutes off the bench so far in Philadelphia. But yeah, obviously if Drummond takes the place of Joel Embiid, you're going to need that maybe not 20 a night kind of guy, but you're going to need 15 to 16 to 18 kind of night from Andre Drummond tonight. But yeah, man, I the things that I would look for tonight if Joel Embiid does sit out is Andre Drummond, can he come in and be that efficient, effective backup center that, we paid him, even though it's on the vet minimum, that we paid him to be here. But then I'm looking for the bounce back from Tuesday from the guys that struggled, right? And I get it's a bad team. So what are we going to say afterwards? Congratulate, great. You did against a bad team, go do it against a good team. But at the same time, when Seth Curry struggles to score the way he did the other night, when the bench, who I was loving through the first 3 games, blows a lead, but gets ran out of the Garden on Tuesday night, looking for them to bounce back. Tobias Harris had a really good all-around night on Tuesday. Look forward to him to keep that up. But yeah, just basically pick up the pieces that you let fall off on Tuesday in New York, and just try to build off of that. It's so early in the year, it's hard to critique many things at this point of the season.
Yeah, but these guys owe the crowd a win tonight after what happened on Friday night, letting one slip through their fingers. So I think Jeremy Grant's also day to day. It says on the injury report.
Game time decision, yeah.
So I don't know if he's playing, but even if he does or doesn't, he's good. But they don't have enough, in my opinion. But who knows with what the Sixers do? They always play down to their competition. But you brought up Toby, which should go on. Maxey, I think, really needs to have a good game tonight. This is another guy that got drafted in his class, got picked before him, so it might be a little bit of extra motivation, especially when he got dropped by Emmanuel quickly last game. So hopefully he can kind of turn things around, have a good 20-point night. That would be awesome.
Per Doc Rivers, Joel Embiid and Shake Milton are game time decisions. Happy for the latter. Happy to have Shake possibly coming back soon. Not happy about the beginning. Like, I don't get it, dude.
Hopefully it's a smoke.
Like, unless the knee is fine. Like, unless take what I said earlier out of the equation. Unless I'm wrong.
Even if the knee is fine, I don't think I'd play him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
We have a huge game.
Yeah, load management his ass on October 28th. But I do want to talk about Shake for a second, though, again. What do you do when he returns? Because it is really weird to say when we've seen kind of the strides Maxey's made early, and him averaging 15 to 16 a night in the starting five, and he's getting to the basket and he's getting downhill and he looks good. There is this thought of Shake's bigger, Shake's longer, Shake can run the offense a little bit better, and then let Maxey run loose with that second unit. What would you do when Shake Milton does return full-time to this team? If it is tonight, do you see Tyrese Maxey move to the bench? Do you see Shake Milton get plugged in the start? Or does Shake
I don't think it would be tonight that he'd be in the starting lineup. I think if you saw a little bit more struggle from the team as a whole, that's when you kind of see the move being made. I doubt Shake's first game back.
Right.
He's going to just jump right in the starting lineup. But I am behind that idea. I'm pretty sure I've said that a couple times. So especially if Embiid doesn't play as well, I would love Maxey to get a lot of time with Andre Drummond that he could get tonight, especially if they were to move him to the second unit. So for now, I think Shake will be off the bench, but he helps so much, as we saw with that second quarter absolute. I just keep picturing the 5 times we turned the ball over, and they were just hitting 3 after 3 after 3. It was like a movie scene.
I know we're past that, but that game got really sloppy in that second quarter. No, dude, it was bad. I remember there's one play that sticks out to me where Andre Drummond catches, turns New York over, catches the ball, takes one dribble, throws a pass right back to New York, goes the other way, splashes a 3. And I'm like, dude, what are we doing, guys?
No, and then like Shake also provides you a guy that can get you 20 on a night. Not just controlling an offense.
Right.
He stretches the floor a little bit. He does a lot. He does a lot for Philadelphia. So
I think I kind of tend to look on the other side of the floor when I think about flip-flopping them too. You're right, Gint. I mean, I'm a big after the Ben saga happened, right, and we saw the collapse and everything. I was really tired of hearing about the defense, because I was just so pissed off. I'm like, what? Well, who cares? What has the defense gotten us? Like, just go. You know what I mean? It hasn't gotten us past the second round, so who cares? But I think on Tuesday, you saw it on full blast. They're going to get exposed with Maxey and Seth on the floor together, and Danny, who's aging, and I know he's still a good defender, but he's a step slower, and then Fur coming off the bench, and when Isaiah Joe plays, like, this team has holes defensively, guarding quick guards or guarding wings. And I just think Shake in place of Maxey defensively, Shake's just a long dude. Like, what is Shake realistically? 6'4", I think. 6'4" with
6'5" with a really large wingspan.
Yeah, like Shake can, affect passing lanes. He can turn people over. He's just a bigger body out there than having 2 6'1" guards in your backcourt with Seth and Tyrese. I think that would make a huge, huge difference offensively, or defensively, I should say, for the 76ers.
Yeah, he's got almost a 7-foot wingspan. 6'8", 6'5".
Wow. All right. All right, Gim. Well, before we move on, what do you envision happening tonight? And I guess since we won't be covering it because it's a weekend game, what do you envision happening Saturday, assuming both teams are 100? Joel Embiid's going, it's 100% on 100%.
I think they're going to win tonight, regardless if Embiid plays or not. Like I said earlier, they owe the crowd a win. I think they know that. And then I think they're going to win Saturday as well. I think ATL is one of the better teams in the East right now, but that's also a game where Philadelphia had to have it marked on the calendar the second they saw it. And I don't know if Atlanta will feel that same type of vibe that Philadelphia has with this game because they beat us, obviously. But that's a team that beat you 3 out of 4 times in its playoff series on your home court. They can't let this one drop.
Well, I was going to ask you that.
Play Saturday, it's a different
That's
story.
different, but let's assume that he does. Like here's what would piss me off, right? You play him tonight against Detroit, and then Saturday you'll hear, well, he's going through his pregame, but he's questionable, and then it's, oh, Embiid's a late scratch. That would really bother me, dude. But here's what I'll ask you. What kind of message, it's only going to be game 6, but what kind of message would it send to you? What kind of message do you think it sends if you allow Atlanta to come back in here? Game 6, first time seeing each other since, that game 7. You just said they beat you 3 out of 4 times at the Wells Fargo Center. It's at the Wells Fargo Center. What kind of message does that set that you lost again?
Yeah, I mean, it basically says ATL is in a different tier than us. It also says that the Sixers have yet to beat a playoff team if they were to lose that game as well. Like, Philly eventually has to kind of start chipping away. Not that the standings mean anything 4 games in, but
no,
you have to start showing around the league you can start beating playoff teams. You've lost to Brooklyn, you've lost to New York. If you lose to Atlanta, next thing you know,
right,
you still don't have a playoff team. You don't have a playoff.
Right. Then not to mention, then you get Damon TJ in town, and then you get the almighty undefeated Chicago Bulls, who I'm already hearing from Chuck and Shaq are already better than the 76ers. Like they before the Tuesday night matchup, Chuck said that the Bulls are better than the 76ers right now. They're a top 3 or 4 team in the East, he said. So 4 games in, you're already hearing that. Like you lose Saturday against Atlanta, what'd you say?
You said, would you hate to hear that I would agree?
I'd be a little disappointed.
Right now, it's not even close, I don't think.
Oh, right now in terms of where they're at as a team, but let's say down the they meet in the playoffs. And not as is.
And 2-5 comes back, we'd sweep them 4 games. Swear to God, I swear. I really like the Chicago team. Chicago's deep. They have Kobe White off the bench. They have Al Caruso off the bench. They have guys that can bring it, but wouldn't be a contest.
All right, let's move on a little bit. Quick little plug here in the middle. I'd love to talk more about it, but I know that my faithful co-host definitely did not stay up late to watch the game last night.
Cam Atkinson, dude.
I'm surprised you know who that is.
I know. I saw it.
I know. Oh, did you see that 0.6 of a goal scored after heading into the first period?
No.
Filthy, bro.
Wait,
defender right. It was 2-2. Defender right in his mug.
He scored last night.
He scored twice last night.
Yeah, I saw one of them. I don't know if I saw both.
The one at the end of the first period, he had a defender in his mug, heading, just one-on-one. Gets the puck. There you go, Adam. You know what I'm talking about. Gets the puck kind of caught between his skates, kicks it with his left skate because he's to his right hand, between his legs, all in one motion, rips a slap shot past the defender, scores with 0.4 of a second left in the period. Flyers go up 3-2. Disgusting. Cam Atkinson has 6 goals on the year. Claude Drew has 4 goals on the year. And the Flyers beat the, at the time, undefeated Edmonton Oilers in Edmonton last night.
They play them again tonight, don't they? Or tomorrow?
No, they play Vancouver. But they might play Edmonton again soon. I haven't checked the schedule, but they play Vancouver tonight. Martin Jones is in net. But I do got to touch on the Flyers because we are a 4-for-4 show here, and I'm going to need my co-host to start watching some puck. I know it pains him to hear that. But the Flyers look good, dude. They look – listen, all right, I don't want to fall into kind of what we fall into every year with Philly teams and the Phillies specifically and the Flyers and the Eagles, after they win a couple games at the beginning of the year. Oh, they're a different team. They're ready. They look like a different team. Like, and I don't know if you know like what West Coast hockey looks like. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. West Coast, it's faster. Like, at Edmonton is quick as shit. They are fast as shit on the ice, on their skates. And last night, and the Flyers are always a step too slow. Even not, it wasn't a West Coast team, but if you watch the playoff series in the bubble, the Islanders were just too quick for the Flyers, too fast for the Flyers. First team to the puck every time. The Flyers have always been a step too slow. The Flyers went skate for skate, second for second with the Edmonton Oilers last night. They look different. They're better defensively. Carter Hart looks great again. Cam Atkinson has 6 goals through 5 games. Jacob Voracek, who was traded for Cam Atkinson, has 0 goals so far to start this year. And the boys are humming, and they play in Vancouver tonight, of course. So hopefully they can improve to 4-1-1 on the year as they stand at 3-1-1. But all right, let's get to the meat of today's show, Gint, because my God, if you haven't heard, the Philadelphia Eagles, through the lens of their head coach, view themselves as a flower, right? And underneath all the work that gets put in, right now their like roots are just growing under the surface, under the soil, right? And the flower hasn't bloomed yet, and it hasn't come up yet. Those would be the results, and they haven't gotten those results yet. But in order for those roots to keep growing stronger and to keep branching out, and for that flower to bloom, you got to put in the work, Gint. You got to water that soil. You got to fertilize. And that's each and every player, each and every coach has to water and fertilize.
It is literally painful to hear.
Oh, like, what's my God, dude. Can
you imagine, truthfully, because we don't know what goes on with that whole speech that he gave. Like, I just can't imagine Fletcher Cox and Lane Johnson sitting there just being like, "What's going on here?"
Hold on. Here's the thing. After an ass whooping on the road, that probably wouldn't be my message to my team, to put up a picture of a flower and describe to them how we need to get those results, because we got to water and fertilize throughout the week, right? B, I've never heard of a head coach giving that kind of speech to a team and then telling the damn media that he gave that speech. Nick, you gotta know when to just zip it, when to just not say certain things, because it's getting real tiring to me. And if it's getting tiring to me, I can only imagine what it feels like inside that locker room, to guys like who you just said, Gint, Fletcher Cox, to guys like Lane Johnson, to guys who can't play right now, like veteran leaders like Brandon Graham, like Brandon Brooks. You got to sit idly by and you got to listen to this dude who has yet to show that he is qualified for the job he has been given. And he's going to tell you we're like a flower. Oh, my dear God, Nicholas Sirianni, please stop with the quotes. Here's a quote I'll give you, Gint. What happens in Vegas, damn sure don't stay in Vegas, because I smell the shit they bring home. I felt the ass whooping and the beating that they took in Vegas. It didn't stay in Vegas. I felt it all the way in New Jersey. Okay, so that's my saying for you today, Nick, since you love giving out these corny, cliche high school football movie quotes.
That's not even high school football. That's you're looking like Pop Warner. You can't curse, so you give a speech about this flower. I'm going to be honest. There's a world where this guy doesn't make it through the whole season. Truthfully, I mean, Dylan, this is brutal, because we just named those guys that we're just talking about, guys that have won a Super Bowl and were vital pieces in a Super Bowl that are approaching the end of their careers, and you have this guy giving these kind of speeches. There's a world where Harry Roseman is going up to all the guys that you named and said, "What do you want to do? Do you want me to shop you around?"
Here's the issue with that. I'd hope so. In a perfect world, in a world where the owner and the general manager can realize their own mistakes and can take in their own mistakes, that would happen. But guess what, again? This is the guy that they handpicked in the offseason after firing the only Super Bowl winning head coach in franchise history. Now, don't get me wrong. That is not me saying that because I'm like, you should have never fired Doug. yes, we all knew that time was coming to an end. I was the playbook, the team, the locker room, everything was stale. It was bad. He had to go. Time was up, right, with Doug and Philly. But you go from him to this. Howie Roseman, with his draft history, has he ever looked himself in the mirror and said, maybe I'll step back from this department, right? I'm not good at this. Let me defer to someone else, another group of people. No, he doesn't, because he's got that power, and Jeffrey lets him hold that power, and this is the team they want and the makeup they want, and this is what they do, right? So 7 games after hand selecting Nick Sirianni and the coaching staff that he assembled, Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie, I promise you, do not have the mindset that we have right now. They don't want to admit that they're wrong. They don't want to look so bad that they had to fire their hand-selected guy halfway through the season. That is not going to happen because they won't admit their own fault. That's the problem.
I agree. I think this is like a whole different level of problem.
For sure.
This is bad. This is worse than the quarterback situation where you ran one out of town that looks awesome. This guy is so bad. I truly don't have words for it. Like, I cannot believe that flower speech came out. And I know we already alluded to it and you already talked about it, but dude, I don't know where to go with this. This guy is the worst. He's approaching the worst football coach I've seen in my existence. Imagine if they lose this week. Truth, the 0-7 Detroit Lions. We're making predictions later, and I don't see a world where I can take
Nick. I just called you Nick because I keep thinking of Nick Sirianni. Gint.
I don't think they win this week.
Can I tell you something?
I don't.
They don't win. They don't win this week.
They lose this week.
They don't win this week because I'll tell you why. Because let's talk about what happened, what transpired before this flower blooming speech. Let's go back to the Vegas game. No, I'm not going to sit here on Thursday and dissect and react to the game because we haven't done that yet. But the Eagles lost 33-22 in Vegas. And quite frankly, the final score doesn't reflect the ass whooping that they took. And that's been a common trend and a common theme all throughout the season, right? Like, one thing we were looking for heading into this year was trends and growth. Well, we're getting trends, but we're getting downward trajecting trends. Every week in and week out with this team, with these losses piling up, the final score doesn't suggest that the Eagles got their ass beat. The final box score doesn't show that Jalen Hurts was inaccurate and and had a piss poor ball game. The final score doesn't show that Nick Sirianni ran the ball 6 times and called a horrible game. But this is the trend we're getting on. That Tampa Bay game, they lost by 6. They got thumped versus Tampa Bay. It goes all the way down to now. This was the worst of them all. Again, this was obviously the Dallas losses, in a blowout world is probably worse. But dude, they couldn't stop me and you on Sunday, Gint. That defensive performance, I've never seen anything like it. Dude, my uncle texted me after the game and said, have you ever witnessed a game where a quarterback was 31 of 33 or 31 of 34?
31 of 34, and one was it hit the dude in the hands when he picked it up.
Right, and it was an interception.
Yeah.
No. I can't. Maybe I did. Maybe it happened before, but no. And I don't just mean like 3 incompletions. Like, I'm sure there's been a time where like Ryan Tannehill of 2019, when he only threw the ball 14 times, might have been like 11 of 14 or something like that. Having 34 dropbacks and passes, and he only has 3 incompletions. It is the 4th time, I think this year, if I'm remembering this correctly, that the Eagles have allowed an opposing team, an opposing quarterback, to complete over 80% of his passes.
Let me ask you this, because Sirianni came out. I know I'm jumping to the other side of the ball, but he came out and looked like he was going to establish a run game.
He knew what to do. The visor wasn't too tight around his head because he didn't wear one.
Let me ask you this. Obviously, Miles Sanders goes down.
Changed everything.
You just panic and change everything that you practice for a week?
Changed everything.
That's all you just hit the panic button.
Now he still ran the ball more than I would have thought he would have. Like, Boston Scott had like 6 or 7 carries. Gainwell still got the ball a little bit, but they really did. They abandoned the run. But even once he went down, even just whether it was the scheme or whether it was the execution of the line, the running game just went completely out the window as altogether. Take it to the other side again, Gint. They allowed the worst rushing offense in football to run the ball down their throat. Because that's how laid back and vanilla and baby shit soft this defense is.
It's
Dude,
bad.
Oh my God, it's hurting my head, Gint, because it's all coming to me at once. Like, as bad as Nick is, and as bad as Howie is for selecting Nick, and as bad as Jeffrey is for allowing Howie to do this, just as bad, almost, has the quarterback been. And if not just as bad, maybe worse, has his hand-selected defensive coordinator been. Neither one of those two are qualified for the jobs that they have right now. The quarterback, hate to break this to you, everybody. I'm at that point. I'm done. I'm done. I've always kind of been done. I never officially bought in. You know this, Gint. But I tried to. I tried to come into this with an open mind. Done. He is not it.
No.
Sometimes, guys, mistakes, missed throws, bad games, every quarterback has them. Sometimes they are growing pains, but not every single time are they growing pains. I don't care what the fantasy football numbers say. I don't care what the final box score numbers say. Again, do you know what this total? Do you know what the score was by the time he finally started moving the ball down the field? 30-7. 30-7 was the score when he started to put drives together and using it. Here he goes, RPO, keeping the ball, getting out of the pocket. He had like 61 rushing yards, 64 rushing yards, whatever he had. He threw 2 passing touchdowns.
The one was a prayer, and Jalen Reagor came down with.
Exactly. Mind you, hold on. The best part was, Gint, I don't know if you watched the replay, but he's scrambling to his right on that throw, right? Jalen Reagor is open the entire route, streaking across the field. He waits until the very last second to lob a ball up in the air for 3 defenders to come up and contest for Reagor to make that play. Just hit the dude. I'm done. I give up. I can't defend it anymore.
It's so repetitive that you just see the freeze frames of this guy's open, this guy was open on this play, this guy was open on this play, Devontae Smith open on this play.
He's made Devontae Smith's life so damn hard. And I kept the first 3 drops Smith had on Sunday. Sure, they hit his hands. They were horrible throws. And Kenny Albert and Jonathan Vilma, my goodness. Another drop for Devontae Smith. No, dude. He's making life. Even the sideline catch that Smith came down with. Again,
yeah.
Bro, no one's within 20 yards of this kid. Why is the throw making him drag a toe down to keep the ball in bounds to complete the catch?
He's brutal. He's not the guy. Like you said, there's no more excuses. The new regime didn't pay out. It was horrible. It's so.
Yeah, and by the way, if anyone wants to contest, it's only 7 games. Yes, I can definitively give you this answer 7 games in. The coach, the DC, the quarterback, none of them. The GM, none of them. All right.
They're not.
Okay, let me take it a step further. Remember in the offseason when everyone was telling us to not be a hater, and it's Quez Watkins season, Jalen Reagor revenge tour? Jalen Reagor had a nice catch for a touchdown. What's my solution, Ken? I don't know. I don't get paid to do this, but let's see. If I'm Jeffrey Lurie, probably sell the team because I allow Howie Roseman to do the things that he does. Or maybe, man up and fire Howie, right? So Jeffrey Lurie, Howie Roseman are problems 1A and 1B. The head coach and the coaching staff that they put together are not the answer. They're not the answer now. They're not the answer in 5 weeks. They're not the answer 3 years from now. They won't get better. And the quarterback is not it. So my solution...
Would you let Howie pick the next head coach if he got Russell Wilson?
For the next 10 years. Ken, okay, let me ask you, Ken, what's your solution? What do you mean? We're going to be the Lions if this keeps up. But I don't understand what you're saying. What is the plan put in place right now to where we're not the Lions for the next 10 years?
Would you let him pick the next head coach if he got Russell Wilson?
No.
You wouldn't?
No, there are certain things in how he's good at.
I think I'd let him pick. If he got Russell Wilson, I think I'd let him pick the coach.
How he can manage the cap, how he can do whatever he's got to do, how he can't draft. He should not be in charge of those 3 first-round picks. I don't care if he went out and traded for them.
What if he got Russell Wilson? Seriously, if he got Russell Wilson, you wouldn't let him pick the next head coach or draft 3 first-round picks? Oh, we wouldn't have any of the first-round picks. So, I mean, that would be thrown out the door.
That why? You would?
If you got Russell Wilson, yeah.
I just want to know, like, Ken, I'm just mad at the Eagles. I'm not trying to yell towards Ken. Thank you for watching and commenting with us. But what's I'm confused. So by me saying I want everyone gone because they stink at what they do, I'm okay with being the Lions for the next 10 years? I don't understand. Again, am I missing something?
No, this offseason is going to be a lot of Eagles talk because a lot's going to have to come. This is, again, the new regime missed this regime that everyone was so excited for, and Carson Wentz was the issue. And thank God Doug.
Remember that? Good times. Good times. Remember when we didn't know football? Because we said that he wasn't the issue?
Yeah. Okay. He looks pretty good. And yeah.
Whatever. I'm still seeing Brandon Graham, Jason Kelsey, Fletcher Cox, Lane Johnson, Zach Ertz, and Carson Wentz. I have no idea what that means. Are you saying that's all Howie picks?
Does he need other Howie picks? Because I can rattle off some for him.
Yeah.
Whiteside.
Yeah, Ken. I'm really not trying to have a one-on-one argument here. But are you suggesting that Howie Roseman is good at drafting?
Derek Barnett.
Jalen Reagor.
Yeah,
JJ Arcega-Whiteside. The list goes. Dude, you just gave me 6 players, right? There's 7 rounds to a draft, and Howie has been in charge of you gave me 6 players. How many draft picks has Howie Roseman had since those draft picks were made?
A lot more than that.
Whatever. No, but not. Yeah. It is all bad. It is all bad. You can find well, all right. I think that's a first again. I think that's a first on the show that has defended Howie. Do you want to compare it to the other teams in the division? What, the Dallas Cowboys that are running away with the division? The Washington football team that we're going to lose to in a few? Again, am I missing something here?
No, dude,
I'm confused.
Sidney Jones,
because I've said,
Marcus Smith, Danny Watkins, JJ Arcega-Whiteside, these all outweigh that. You
can't.
It's
just not even the draft. Not even the draft classes. This all started because I said to get rid of, because Jalen's not the guy, Nick sucks, Gannon sucks, Howie and Jeffrey are the problems too.
They all do, for sure. I agree.
And then it was, am I okay with being the Lions for the next 10 years?
No.
The issue is, if things stay the way they are, we're going to be the Browns of the past and the Lions. That's where I'm getting confused. There's a disconnect here. Letting these guys stay around is an issue. All right, Gint. So let's get into Sunday's game, because I think that was my biggest thing from what happened in Vegas. I walked away from a game where I was hopeful, dude. I picked the Eagles to beat the Raiders Sunday morning, and I went into that game with an open mind and thought, because here was the best part, Gint. If you could find a way to win that game, you're 3-4. Then you get to play the Lions, who at the time, that's a game that I had the Eagles checked off as a W. You're 4-4 heading back home. Maybe you pick up some momentum heading back home, right? Because you just won 2 straight on the road. Not just the fact that they lost to the Raiders, the fact that they didn't show up, the fact that at times in the game it looked like they quit, the fact that the defense, what'd you say?
Off 10 days rest too.
10 days rest, yes. Yeah. Off of a mini bye. That's what they came out and looked like. They looked good for 2 possessions. Offense ran the ball, went down the field, scored 6. Defense got an interception. We didn't even discuss his penalty exception on the first drive. We're not even going to get into that. They look good for 2 drives. I came away from that game thinking we are going to lose to the Detroit Lions.
I felt worse last week than I felt at any point last year. 100,000%. I can truthfully say that, I think.
Like after the Raiders game?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Yeah, it wasn't even close either.
Me too. And last year was one of the worst years I've ever experienced as an Eagles fan, and it's beyond that now. Like I'm trying to picture rock bottom, and if this isn't it, I don't know what is.
The Houston Texans have to be rock bottom. We're probably right above them.
Because here's my thing, like the Eagles have winnable games left on their schedule. But I can't go into any week now saying the Eagles should win that game. Who the hell am I to say that the Eagles are a better team? What?
I think they get beat. I think they're better. I confidently say they are going to beat the Jets.
Okay.
That's it.
The 0-7 Lions? No, I cannot confidently say that. A, on the road. B, the Lions are 0-7. They're a bad football team. But one thing they are, or one thing they do, is fight. They battle every week. Like they took the Rams to the brink last week. They should have beaten Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens outside of a Justin Tucker longest field goal ever made at a walk-off. They've been in a lot of ball games. They fight hard. Their coach, who had some pretty bad press conferences throughout the offseason, just as Nick Sirianni has, he's got them fighting and competing. The Eagles have no fight in them.
No, and
I don't want to hear about battling, and I don't want to hear that your guys battled. I don't want to hear about dog mentality. And apparently that was another thing he talked about.
He doubled down, right? He
doubled down. Dog mentality is at an all-time high. Oh my goodness.
Detroit also has one of the best rushing attacks in the NFL in terms of player personnel. DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams are probably one of the best 1-2 backs in the entire NFL. This, like you said, this team,
they're not going to cover TJ Hawkinson.
Their coach has like a message in a locker room. You can like see it. They come out like they lost like 3 or 4 1-score games. I'm pretty sure this year. Like you said, they took a perennial Super Bowl contender to the brink last week. So to me, on the road, I can't believe the Eagles are favored by 3.5 points. It's bad. I'm going to make.
Well, what's worse though, Gant? What's worse? That they are like the fact that they're only favored by 3.5 points against the Lions is a problem in itself. If you're a good franchise, this is at minimum a 9-point spread.
Yeah, we're not a good franchise.
No, that's what I'm saying. So like heading into this year, we looked at this Lions game as a automatic dub, right? And now I'm heading into it like we are going to lose this game. And no, this is not me being an overly pessimistic Philly fan. This is me watching week in and week out what this team puts out. I have no confidence. I don't care if the Lions don't have a good defense. I have zero confidence that Nick Sirianni, no, not doing that. That Nick Sirianni and Jalen Mills, oh my God, Jalen Hurts and Jalen Reagor and Quez Watkins and all these guys can successfully move the ball up and down the field and put up points. Again, I'm trying to remember, and I'm being serious. When is the last time? Well, what did we put up in Carolina points wise?
30.
We did.
30.
You might be right, or no, it was 27, wasn't it?
21, 18.
21. So we're wrong. So here's what I want to get to, because I know we put up 22 against the Bucs and we put up 22 last week. When is the last time this team? Let's see. 22 against the Raiders, 22 against the Bucs, 21 against the Panthers. They put up 30 in a loss against the Chiefs, 21 against the Cowboys, 11 against the Niners. So the Philadelphia Eagles have only put up more than 22 points twice this season. So here's the weird part, Gint, right? What's a worse side of the ball? Because I'll tell you what.
I think the defense.
Well, okay, sure. The defense is literally all-time bad because they can't stop a nosebleed. They led You gash them on the run, 8 yards, 7 yards, 9 yards on first down the run. Quarterbacks are completing an all-time high completion percentage against the Eagles. You can have the bend but don't break defense all you want. It means not bend but don't break. You can eliminate the deep plays. The Eagles are first in, yards per completion given up with like 9 point something. But guess what? It means nothing when you allow the team to go all the way up and down the field and score 6 damn near every possession, right? So the defense is really bad. But Gint, let me ask you, like, how many games are you going to win in the National Football League if your offense can't put up more than 22 points? Truthfully, how many?
You're going to win 2 of 7.
Well, hold on. Because in your 2 wins, let's just take the Carolina win, your defense is the only reason you won that game.
That's true. No,
that's how bad the offense was.
I'm pretty sure NFL statistics right now are like, if you give up less than 21 points, you're supposed to win.
Yeah.
But first of all, our both sides of the ball can't play well at the same time. Besides week 1, which week 1 at this point I think was an anomaly. I don't even count week 1 at this point. Yeah. But like you just said, if you're not going to score more than 21 points, you're probably not going to win a game.
Again, I went through at work the other day, and then we're about to wrap this show up. But I went through at work kind of just like what the standings are because I was kind of just bored and looking at who is going to like maybe make the wild cards in each conference. And it got to the point after that Raiders loss where it's like teams that are bad in this league, like I mean like pretty damn bad, are better than us right now. Like when I look at the Atlanta Falcons, for instance, Gint, who you just said we beat the dog shit out of week 1. That was like an anomaly for us, right? And after week 1, what were we as Eagles fans saying? It was just the Falcons, right? The Falcons have a better chance at making the playoffs than we do.
I can't imagine we have probably have one of the worst percentages to make the playoffs in the entire NFL.
Can I ask you something? And I know this is coming off a really bad loss, so maybe we are overreacting, but do you think we're better than the Giants?
I want to say yeah. I don't know. I can't say yes or no. I don't think so.
I don't know. And I think that tells you all you need to know is that if we can't answer the question, are we better than Daniel Jones and the Saquon Barkley less Giants? We stink. we are bad. Ken, thank you so much for commenting and having a conversation with us, man. But I'm still waiting to hear how doing what I said makes us the Lions by getting rid of all these issues. All right, that's going to wrap up this episode of the Faithful Fanatics Show, streaming to you guys live through DSM Media on our Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter accounts. Come hang out with Scotty and I on Turf Talk starting shortly after this as we break down all of Week 7's action in the NFL. We're going to be talking to more Eagles-Raiders, the Monday Night Football matchup, the Thursday Night Football matchup tonight, which is going to be incredible. As Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers travel to the desert to take on the Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray. No Devontae Adams, no Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and no Allen Lazard as of right now for the Green Bay Packers. So Aaron Rodgers, I don't know again. I don't know how
is Randall Cobb receiver 1 tonight?
Yep. Randall Cobb, Tanyan, Aaron Jones is going to have a hell of a night tonight. But if Aaron Rodgers somehow pulls this off, boy, it should be interesting. Sixers at 7, Flyers at 10. Full pack night of sports here for everybody. For myself, for Gint, have a great night.